His toes here don't straighten, do they? They get very sore as well. MDP affects Dylan's feet. He has no padding at all. He does need to use a lot of protection, otherwise they just ulcerate and just become so sore that he can't walk.
Ever wondered about people who defy the odds every day? Today, we're diving into the lives of 10 extraordinary individuals born with rare medical conditions. Despite facing huge challenges, their stories are full of strength and inspiration. Imagine a boy with constant abnormal behavior, or someone who has genes missing. These unique people show us what it means to live with courage. Get ready to be inspired by their unbreakable spirits and extraordinary lives. Number 10. Dylan Lombard. It might seem like a superpower, but in reality, it's a severe disease. A teenager from the United Kingdom described his experience with a very rare condition affecting only 13 people globally. This condition prevents him from storing fat in his body, among other serious complications. Despite these challenges, the young man is hopeful and determined. Dylan Lombard, an 18-year-old from Glasgow, Scotland, emphasized that he is more than his condition and stressed the importance of sharing his story. Dylan has mandibular hypoplasia deafness progeroid syndrome, a rare premature aging disease that inhibits fat storage under the skin and causes additional issues such as a small lower jaw, deafness, and a beaked nose, as noted by the Genetic and Rare Diseases Information Center. This syndrome is extremely rare, affecting just 1 in 600 million people, making Dylan one of only 13 known cases worldwide. Although he was born with this genetic condition, his symptoms only appeared when he was 18 months old. His mother noticed he was losing a significant amount of weight, which raised her concern. Due to the syndrome's rarity, it took doctors 10 years of regular visits to diagnose him. Growing up with this rapid aging disease has been difficult for Dylan. He has faced constant stares and hurtful comments, but he has learned not to let these things affect him as he's grown older. He surrounds himself with supportive and loving people. Though his fragile body prevents him from playing contact sports, Dylan has developed a passion for photography, which began at the age of 11. He recalled taking a few pictures on his phone on a rainy day, which impressed his parents and encouraged him to continue. At 15, his mom bought him his first camera, and he has been taking photos ever since, often drawing inspiration from his hometown of Glasgow. Dylan hopes that by sharing his story, he can raise awareness about mandibular hypoplasia deafness progeroid syndrome. He feels ready to educate people about his condition and loves to tell his story and connect with people globally. Sharing his experiences has made him feel stronger and more confident, and he aspires to inspire others to live life to the fullest. He believes no one should be afraid of who they are and stresses the importance of doing what makes one happy. Number 9. Dylan with partial triplication, 15. It took the Torrance family 3 years to discover what was wrong with their youngest son, Dylan. They finally learned he had a rare genetic condition called partial triplication 15, which is a mutation in his 15th chromosome. This condition affects only 19 people worldwide, and Dylan is the only one with this exact mutation. His mother, Janie Torrance, felt relieved when they got the diagnosis. Before this, no one knew what was wrong, and it was very frustrating for her. The condition is so rare, it doesn't even have a specific name. The diagnosis is simply a description of what happened to Dylan's chromosome. After finding out, Janie tried to look for others with the same condition. She was very disappointed to learn that no one else had this mutation. Normally, people have 23 pairs of chromosomes. In Dylan's case, one of the chromosomes in his 15th pair is longer because a part of it has been copied more than usual. This unusual situation causes many problems for Dylan. Because of his condition, he cannot speak, has severe epilepsy, and needs a wheelchair. During her pregnancy, everything seemed normal. But after Dylan was born, Janie noticed that he would not feed well, was very floppy, and didn't show much interest in things. Dylan was different from his older brother, who was very active. Janie had to insist on getting a genetic test to find out what was wrong. This test confirmed Dylan's condition when he was 3 years old. Despite everything, Janie stays positive. She looks at Dylan and thinks, "How can I complain about my life when my son deals with this every day?" She admires his positive attitude. Right now, there is no cure for Dylan's condition, but Janie hopes that one day a clever person will find a solution. The Torrance family tries to keep life as normal as possible. Janie works 1 day a week as a hairdresser and goes to the gym. They also make sure their older son, 14-year-old Callum, gets enough attention and doesn't miss out on activities. Dylan stays busy too. He enjoys respite care at Haven House Children's Hospice in Woodford, Essex, and attends a special school when he feels well enough. Number 8. Nomi. Nomi, a mother of 4, was diagnosed with amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, a disease that affects the motor neurons. Born in Luxembourg, she studied classical and lyrical singing at the Music Conservatory of Luxembourg and the Conservatoire National Régional de Nancy. Noemi is a well-known opera singer, specifically a soprano. She gave a memorable performance and delivered a motivating speech at the 2019 Rarest Black Pearl Awards. According to Noemi, getting diagnosed with amyotrophic lateral sclerosis in Luxembourg was a long and challenging process because there are no specialized centers or hospitals for motor neuron diseases like amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. She had to be very patient, which was tough as she is not a patient person by nature. Everything began in 2013 when her right leg felt stiff and weak. After a few months, it got so bad that she needed a cane to walk. A year later, the same issue affected her left leg, making walking even more difficult. Nomi had to start using crutches, and when her arms also weakened, she needed a walker to get around. In 2017, the muscles in her back, neck, and face started weakening too. She was so heartbroken that she couldn't stand up straight anymore. Standing, walking, or even sitting in a normal chair became impossible. So Nomi began using an electric wheelchair. Since 2018, she has had breathing problems and needs a bi-level positive airway pressure machine at night to help me breathe. Her lung function is now quite poor, and she has trouble swallowing as well. Recently, she had to get a feeding tube and spent a few days in the hospital, including time in the intensive care unit, due to her lung issues. Living with amyotrophic lateral sclerosis is very different from her life before the diagnosis. She can't hike in the mountains, ride horses, or ski in the Alps anymore. However, her electric wheelchair allows Nomi to go for walks with her dogs, children, or husband, even if she's not very fast. She believes that she is quite fortunate that her disease is progressing slowly. Singing has always been her greatest passion, and as a young girl, she dreamed of becoming an opera singer. Nomi is really happy that the disease hasn't taken away her voice yet. She said, "I can still sing and perform. I don't know when this might change, but for now, I'm glad I can still accept invitations to perform at events like the Black Pearl Awards. I also organize charity concerts in Luxembourg to raise funds for amyotrophic lateral sclerosis patients. The future with amyotrophic lateral sclerosis scares me a lot, especially the thought of losing my voice. That's why I don't dwell on what I've lost or look too far into the future. I focus on living in the present, because for now, I can still sing." 2 expressions are very important to her. Carpe diem, seize the day, because she believes in living in the moment and making the most of each day, and never give up, because she believes that with strong will and ambition, and treasures every moment she has with them and her friends. Number 7. Didi Koswara. Didi Koswara was an Indonesian man known as the Tree Man because of the scaly warts all over his body. He has sadly passed away after fighting his rare and untreatable illness for a long time. Didi Koswara, who was 42 years old, died in a hospital in Badung, Indonesia in 2016. He never got to fulfill his dream of seeing a cure for his illness and going back to working as a carpenter. For the last 3 months of his life, doctors said Didi had accepted that his illness was very serious. Over many decades, it caused him to lose his family, his job, and his ability to live independently. He had a disease called Lewandowski-Lutz dysplasia, which makes the human papillomavirus grow uncontrollably, causing scaly warts that look like tree bark. He passed away because of many health problems, including hepatitis, liver issues, and problems with his stomach. He had been in the hospital for 3 months before he died. One of his doctors said Didi was very brave to face all the unkind things people had said to him over the years. She also said he was not close to his family when he died, but the people who took care of him in the hospital said he never stopped hoping for a cure. Didi really wanted to get better, even though he was very sick, said his nurse. He was dealing with his illness, even though people treated him badly, thinking he was cursed. He spent a lot of time in bed in the hospital and often smoked to pass the time. He wanted to go back to working as a carpenter and have his own business. Didi's illness was so bad that his hands and feet were covered with more than 13 pounds of warts, which are also called cutaneous horns. His condition was so serious that people from all over the world knew about him, and there were many long documentaries made about his life and his struggles. Because of the warts, Didi couldn't use his hands and feet properly, which made it very hard for him to do everyday things. People in his community believed the warts were because of a curse. In 2008, Didi had surgery to remove 13 pounds of warts from his body. The surgery went very well, and afterward, he could do things like play Sudoku and wear flip-flops. But the warts kept growing back, so he needed surgery 2 times every year to keep them from getting worse. Number 6. Tiffany Wedekind. Tiffany Wedekind, a woman from Columbus, Ohio, is believed to be the oldest person in the world living with a rare condition called progeria. This condition makes people age 8 times faster than usual and often results in death by the age of 15. However, Tiffany has surpassed this life expectancy by almost 3 times, despite facing premature wrinkles, hair loss, and tooth decay. Doctors are amazed by her continued survival, considering her a unique case in the medical world. Tiffany attributes her longevity to practicing yoga regularly, which helps her maintain a positive outlook on life. Now in her 40s, Tiffany, who is divorced and manages her own business, understands the importance of staying healthy. She considers herself fortunate to still be alive and strives to make the most of each day. Tiffany's positive mindset stems from witnessing her brother Chad's struggles with progeria, who passed away at 39, exceeding his life expectancy by about 30 years. Currently, there are only 179 individuals worldwide diagnosed with progeria, scattered across 53 countries. Despite facing challenges associated with progeria, such as rapid aging and small stature of 4 feet 5 inches, Tiffany remains active and prioritizes her well-being. Additionally, she emphasizes the importance of maintaining a healthy diet, believing that taking care of her body contributes to her prolonged survival. Tiffany was diagnosed with progeria in her late 20s, unaware of her condition for nearly half of her life. Both she and her brother Chad learned about their inherited condition from their mother. Progeria arises from a genetic mutation passed down from parents, accelerating the aging process in affected children. Most individuals with progeria display symptoms as early as age 2 and rarely live past 20. Tiffany's case is extraordinary, not only because she has outlived typical life expectancies, but also because she and her brother are a rare example of siblings with progeria. Apart from her family, the next oldest person with progeria, Margaret Casey, passed away at 29 in 1985. Tiffany's distinctive facial features, including a narrow face, small lower jaw, and thin lips, are characteristic of her condition. Despite facing challenges like hair loss and dental issues in her 20s, Tiffany's progeria went unnoticed for a significant period. It was only discovered when her brother sought genetic testing before planning to have children. The diagnosis came as a shock to both Tiffany and her family, as progeria is a rare and often fatal condition with no cure. Though Tiffany has experienced difficulties, including a divorce and societal judgment about her appearance, she remains resilient. She refuses to let her condition define her, and instead focuses on living life to the fullest. While its effectiveness remains uncertain, Tiffany remains optimistic about her future and continues to inspire others with her zest for life. Now, it's time for today's subscriber pick. Kirsty and Catherine Fields are the only 2 people on the earth who suffer from Fields' condition, a degenerative muscular disorder so uncommon that it was named after them. The women from Llanelli, South Wales, lost their voices 4 years ago due to sickness, but they began communicating again after receiving electronic speech machines on their 18th birthdays in 2012. Kirsty picked an Australian accent, while Catherine chose an American one, so their acquaintances could tell them apart without a doubt. Catherine said in an interview, "We used to talk at night and put the world to rights. Kirsty was the noisy one and would jabber on all night. Our communication aids have opened up a whole new world to us. They are great birthday presents for us. But we both lost our voices at the same time, and it has been difficult to communicate with each other and with family and friends." The twins are the only known sufferers of the degenerative condition, which doctors have named after them. The girls have more than 100 muscle spasms a day which are uncontrollable and leave them in great pain. It's clearly not easy to live with such an emotionally and physically taxing disease, but at least both Catherine and Christy have each other to talk to. Number 5. Stephanie Turner. Stephanie Turner made history as the first woman with harlequin ichthyosis to give birth. She often reflected on the warnings doctors gave her about the dangers of pregnancy, though her deepest desire was always to become a mother. The concerns of the doctors were not without merit. Harlequin ichthyosis, a rare genetic condition she had, caused severe skin issues that made pregnancy particularly risky. Her skin was notably inflexible, prone to painful cracks exacerbated by pregnancy hormones, and her already compromised immune system would be more susceptible to infections during pregnancy. Despite understanding the significant risks, Stephanie felt an inner certainty that things would work out. At 20, she married Curtis, the man of her dreams, and became the first woman with harlequin ichthyosis to give birth. Her life had been characterized by defying expectations. At birth, doctors predicted she would survive only an hour, fearing that cracks in her skin could prevent proper breathing. However, her mother remained optimistic and believed in her resilience. Stephanie considered herself very fortunate, even though it might not be immediately obvious to others. With harlequin ichthyosis, her skin shed rapidly, leading to significant calorie loss. While many infants with this condition required feeding tubes, she did not. Her mother played a crucial role in her care, consistently applying gauze and aquaphor lotion to prevent infections. Although information about harlequin ichthyosis was limited, teaching her about self-care and helping her manage the condition, this close relationship helped them navigate the challenges together and strengthened their bond. Her mother was quick to address any negative comments, instilling in her the confidence to stand up for herself. Through her mother's guidance, she developed resilience and earned the respect of her community. Stephanie's high school experience included joining the cheerleading squad, which underscored her differences, but also highlighted her determination. Love and acceptance eventually found her when she met Curtis at 18. He saw beyond her skin condition, embracing her entirely. Their relationship flourished, leading to a spontaneous courthouse wedding. Although their families were initially disappointed, Stephanie and Curtis cherished the intimacy of their union. They were eager to start a family and began trying for a baby right away. Doctors often recommended abortion due to the high risks associated with her condition, but Stephanie remained resolute, relying on her faith. She declined invasive tests, trusting in a higher power and believing in their ability to face any challenge together. Fortunately, her pregnancy went smoothly with minimal intervention needed, although childbirth was challenging and resulted in an emergency C-section. The arrival of their son, Willie, was a joyous moment, affirming their perseverance. 8 months later, Stephanie became pregnant again. Though initially apprehensive, she embraced the journey and opted for a scheduled C-section. The birth of their daughter, Olivia, brought immense joy, despite the accompanying challenges. Breastfeeding, which Stephanie had hoped for, was not feasible due to practical constraints and fears. Nevertheless, she remained committed to providing the best for her children, navigating the complexities of motherhood with determination. Although her journey ended earlier than expected, Stephanie found solace in the enduring love of her family. She entrusted Curtis with raising their children, confident that he would carry forward her legacy of kindness and resilience. Number 4. Emma Fogarty. Emma Fogarty, a 39-year-old woman living with epidermolysis bullosa, describes the condition as distressing and painful. Epidermolysis bullosa, a genetic disorder, causes the skin layers and internal body linings to separate and blister upon the slightest touch. Approximately 1 in 18,000 babies are born with epidermolysis bullosa, which translates to around 300 individuals in Ireland. The severity of epidermolysis bullosa varies, ranging from mild cases to severe forms that can be fatal in infancy or significantly reduce life expectancy due to complications. Emma explains that her skin, due to epidermolysis bullosa, is as fragile and delicate as a butterfly's wings, making it susceptible to blistering and peeling off even with minimal contact. To protect herself from further damage, she covers approximately 80% of her body in bandages. Moreover, epidermolysis bullosa affects her internally, requiring her to take various medications throughout the day to manage the pain. Despite the challenges posed by epidermolysis bullosa, Emma maintains a positive outlook, buoyed by ongoing research efforts aimed at finding better treatments and, hopefully, a cure for the condition. She expresses gratitude for the progress made in recent years, which fuels her optimism and determination. Emma has been serving as a patient ambassador for Dystrophic Epidermolysis Bullosa Research Association Ireland for the past decade, a role she values deeply. Through her advocacy work, she strives to raise awareness about epidermolysis bullosa and the importance of supporting organizations like of Dystrophic Epidermolysis Bullosa Research Association. She emphasizes the vital role such organizations play in providing support and hope to individuals living with rare diseases. Emma acknowledges the challenges faced by those dealing with rare conditions and underscores the significance of having a strong support network to navigate these difficulties. Number 3. Matilda Hatton. Matilda Hatton has a very rare condition called Sensenbrenner syndrome. In 2019, Matilda, who lives in Great Worley, Staffordshire, joined the 100,000 Genomes Project. This syndrome makes her arms and legs shorter than usual, and she grows slower than other kids. Matilda also has problems with her liver and kidneys. Matilda's condition is so unusual that it took doctors 3 years to figure out what was wrong with her. When she was born in Stafford, she had to quickly go to Birmingham Children's Hospital, which is now called Birmingham Women's and Children's NHS Foundation Trust. Since then, she has been going there for checkups and treatment. Her dad, Les, takes care of Matilda. He says, "The people at Birmingham Women's and Children's Foundation Trust asked us to join the 100,000 Genomes Project because Matilda's syndrome is very rare. The hope is that by studying her genes, we can learn more about what causes her condition. If we can find out the cause early, maybe we can stop it from happening to other kids in the future." Matilda's mom, Michelle, adds, "Matilda loves going to school. She tries her best not to let her illness bother her. She's just like any other little girl, but sometimes she gets more tired than others." Dr. Larissa Karakuk, who works at Birmingham Women's and Children's Foundation Trust, takes care of kids with rare diseases like Matilda's. She says, "Matilda is a wonderful child. It's nice to help her. We're thankful to her and her family for being part of this important project. It's the beginning of a new way of treating illnesses, where we use a person's genes to find the best treatment for them." Number 2. Rahma Haruna. Rahma Haruna, a young girl from Kano, northern Nigeria, captured the world's attention due to her unique life story. Born seemingly healthy, Rahma's growth halted during infancy, leaving her body confined to a plastic bowl while her head continued to develop. Despite her condition, Rahma's spirit remained strong, and she expressed her aspirations to become a grocer and run a small shop someday. Living with an undiagnosed illness brought constant pain to Rahma, compelling her family to seek medical help tirelessly. Her father, Husseini, dedicated 15 years to finding a cure, sacrificing his possessions and spending over $1 million naira on her treatment. Despite their efforts, Rahma's condition remained a mystery, with some professionals attributing it to supernatural causes, such as being afflicted by a jinn from Islamic mythology. The family's struggle to get Rahma's condition recognized medically was accompanied by financial challenges. Husseini, a farmer, juggled multiple jobs to afford his daughter's treatment, even selling his belongings to cover medical bills. Despite the hardship, the family remained hopeful, seeking assistance from charities and specialists to alleviate Rahma's suffering. In their quest for help, the Haruna family received support from generous donors, including a wheelchair to aid Rahma's mobility. Rahma's resilience shone through her daily battles with severe symptoms, as she refused to let her condition hinder her dreams. Her unwavering faith and determination fueled her desire to start a business, aspiring to open a grocery store where people could purchase essential items. Despite Rahma's optimism and the family's efforts, tragedy struck when she passed away on December 25, 2016. Her story touched the hearts of people worldwide, reflecting the resilience and determination of a young girl facing extraordinary challenges. Rahma's legacy lives on, inspiring others to cherish life's moments and persevere in the face of adversity. Number 1. Ali. Ali is the only person on Earth with a very rare sickness that doesn't even have a name. His body can't do normal things like walk, talk, sit, or even lift his head up. He can't see, can't hear well, and has lots of seizures every day, sometimes as many as 100. Doctors don't know what will happen to him in the future. Ali's mom, Louise Lloyd, takes care of him all the time, and his dad, Steve Sadecki, has to work less because he needs to be with Ali a lot. Louise and Steve live in Barrow-in-Furness, Cumbria. They got almost 4,500 pounds from people, some they know and some they don't, to help them pay for things. Ali's condition gets worse as he gets older, so they need more money, about 10,000 pounds, to help them take care of him and pay for their life. Steve talked about Ali's sickness. He said Ali has something wrong with his chromosomes. He was born with a hole in his heart, a problem with his lungs, and his feet turned inwards. Doctors can't say what will happen to him because he's the only one like this in the world. But when Ali isn't sick or in pain, he's a sweet kid and seems happy, despite all his troubles. Louise and Steve already have another son named Bradley, who is 10 years old. When Louise was pregnant with Ali, everything seemed normal until she had a checkup at 20 weeks. Doctors saw something wrong and thought maybe the baby would have Down syndrome, but tests showed that wasn't the problem. Doctors couldn't say what was wrong and suggested Louise end the pregnancy, but she and Steve wanted Ali no matter what. Ali was born on August 15, 2014, at Furness General Hospital, but it was a hard birth. He got stuck and didn't get enough oxygen, so doctors had to help him breathe. For the first 2 months of his life, he had to go to different hospitals. It wasn't until the end of that year that doctors figured out what was making him sick. Louise and Steve have a hard time because Ali only sleeps 2 hours a night. They thought things would get easier as Ali got older, but they've gotten harder instead. Ali needed surgery on his windpipe in February, and then he had a big seizure in October 2018. Now, he can't go to the special school he used to go to. Taking care of Ali is really hard for Louise, especially since she's almost always at home with him. She says they don't get much help, and even though friends and family want to help, they can't because they don't know how to take care of Ali with his special needs. Louise struggles to take care of him by herself, especially since support services are being cut. They got an extra room built onto their house so Ollie could be more comfortable, but money is still tight. A friend made a page on GoFundMe to raise £10,000 to help them. At first, Steve felt embarrassed to ask for help, but now he's glad they did because it's made their lives a bit easier. We hope you enjoyed this video. See you in the next one.